Hey guys, this is the Mental Minute that we're hosting on Junction City CrossFit private page. And this time we have with us Cynthia. Cynthia is actually kind of what prompted this whole thing because she was very vulnerable and put out that she was having a bit of a struggle with this whole, you know, coronavirus pandemic thing and how we're, away from the gym and kind of away from our normal way of life. And so we know that a lot of you might be feeling that way or struggling with some things. And so we wanted to talk about that. So thanks for coming on, Cynthia.
Sure, no problem.
And thank you also for being open and sharing that info. And I wanted to ask, what was that tipping point that made you want to open up and share that info that you were struggling?
So I've been with Iron Movement for over a year now, and I put in a lot of hard work into maintaining my weight or cutting or bulking or whatever cycle I was on. And I came off of a bulk and went into maintenance phase, and I stress eat, and I realized I was stress eating, and I wasn't even realizing I was doing it. I was just like mindlessly grabbing stuff and shoving it in my mouth. So, and I realized it was because of the stress, because of the change. Our family did a big lifestyle change right before everybody had to start the stay-at-home order and all that other stuff. So, and not that I don't like change, but I'm a creature of habit. I like routine. I like Monday through Friday, if you need to find me, if I write out my schedule for one day, that's where I am every single day of the week. So, because the change, stretching out because of the change, not knowing what's going to happen. I do have some OCD tendencies on top of that. And I was like, I put on almost 10 pounds in 3 weeks. I realized like I couldn't focus anymore at work. I wasn't consistent in the gym, and I wasn't consistent with my nutrition. So the combination of just being stressed out and being inconsistent and looking for motivation constantly, it just all kind of added up to a point. I was like, I know I'm not the only one. There's no way I'm the only one. And just talking about it with friends, I mean, we're all going to back each other up and support each other, which is great. But I was still trying to find motivation, and I couldn't find it anymore. So I figured if I asked about it and I put it or commented about how motivation is good, don't get me wrong, but constantly trying to rely on motivation is not going to solve my problem. So if somebody else was struggling and they found a good way to cope with it, then maybe I could do something like that. Maybe if I post about it, somebody would reply and have some good, like, maybe you should try this, or this is what I do, and just kind of open that dialogue.
I like that. That's very vulnerable, which is a good thing, of showing where you're at and vulnerability. I can't even know. I don't know the definition.
Yeah.
How explains it, but it's important to have that. And I'm really proud that you did that. And I think it's really awesome that you did that on the page. So good job.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
After you made that post and you did get quite a lot of feedback, did you feel like it was helpful? And what do you feel like maybe you're looking for?
I think I got so off focus. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for exactly. But I did get a lot of feedback, and I liked that some people were just like, I feel the same way too. And then other people were maybe not necessarily having just the empathy and the understanding alone was helpful. And then other people were like, I think somebody else posted that they have a big whiteboard in their house, and everybody shares everything on that whiteboard. And then you had commented about the planner. I love a good planner. I usually live out of it. And then I realized I haven't even used my planner in like a month. So just being reminded of things like that, things that I used to be consistent about, I stopped doing altogether. And realizing it, probably if I start doing that again, I might feel a little bit more centered and a little bit more mindful too, present mentally.
Have you started
Oh, sorry.
implementing any of those things?
I did pull out my planner. I started doing that again. And for us, my husband's so kind and so patient with me. He lets me kind of like control our day and our flow and how that goes. So I don't necessarily need a big whiteboard because nobody knows what they're doing until I'm like, hey, we're doing this. So bless his heart. So we I think just using my planner again, and that made a big difference this week. And like I just got done meal prepping right before this, so like actually planning my meal prep out like I used to was super helpful too, and that was a lot less stressful. So I'm like prepared for the week that's coming up instead of I know Kat said she likes bulk prepping. I cannot do that. I will not. I hate weighing everything out every day. It drives me nuts. So that I actually meal prep this week and I don't have to do that during the week. That took some of the stress out of my day because my husband and I are both still working right now, and the kids are still being babysat. So our day-to-day hasn't, putting into perspective that our day-to-day hasn't really changed that much. It's just how we go about it is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Did that even answer your question? I think I got lost.
No, you didn't. No,
Okay.
you completely answered my question. It sounds like you falling back into some steadfast habits that have been successful for you has been
Okay.
really key to getting you feeling a little bit better. And I think sometimes a lot of people think when they fall off, they have to do everything all at once to get back on track. And that's not necessary. I always feel like it's kind of like a snowball effect, you know, if you do just one thing, okay, I'm going to get my planner back out and I'm going to get on a schedule. And then you feel good about that and then it builds on itself. So then you're like, oh, I'm okay. Okay, let's do the next thing.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what happened. I pulled out my planner and I also budget. I do the old school, almost like a checkbook thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like a line item budget.
Yeah. So I still do that. So doing that again and seeing my notes and looking, I keep all my planners too. So going back through my old stuff and seeing, you can look through and be like, okay, she was having a breakdown this week, and then she started to get her shit together again next week. So looking through that too, just to see what my patterns and habits are, that made a big difference, I think. So I feel a little bit better about this coming week, and it's like a snowball effect, like you said. Like now that I got the ball rolling, as long as I stick to it, it'll get better as the days go by.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the spiral of change and just the spiral of growing, how you're always either like spiraling up or spiraling forward, however you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're going forward, and then before the next like spiral forward again, you kind of go backwards a little bit, and you're not really going backwards all the way to the beginning of where you started, but you kind of feel like you have had setbacks and everything. But when you have that like spiral back to go forward, using that as data points, using that as opportunities to learn more about yourself and know like I do really well when I do this, and or I kind of don't feel so well when I don't do those things, certain things, and learning more about yourself.
Right.
So yeah, I think using this as an opportunity to learn more about yourself, I think it's really awesome, and that you're not beating yourself up over it.
Right. Thank you. There was some of that. There was some of that self-bullying, but I'm at a point now where I can see that happening. So before it gets like too out of hand, just getting back on track. So, but that's really cool. I never thought of it like the spiral effect, because I'm like, okay, I didn't completely fall off the wagon. I'm just kind of like, my head's at the road and it's scary. Kind of hanging on. You know what I mean?
What advice would you give anyone? So we're trying to keep these kind of quick. So what advice would you give anyone who is feeling how you're feeling, maybe feeling a little bit out of their routine, trying to find this, you know, and really I always say this might be a new normal, right? Like there might be some things that are forever changed after this, and what that might look like for someone and how you would tell them to maybe cope with that, or how they, what has helped you.
I try really hard to be optimistic about what's going on and kind of like learn from everything that's happened. There's a reason, I feel like, whether it's something like this pandemic that's going on. I wasn't really prepared for something like this to happen. I wasn't prepared for like the what ifs, and I'm a planner. I like to think I'm prepared for everything. So being humbled and realizing that, there's some things that I'm not going to be able to plan for or be able to change. And just adapting to it, like, okay, now that we know this is going to happen later on, this will help me somewhere else, and just kind of changing the perspective of what's going on is a big difference. And I don't journal, but I think my planner is like my journal. So having something to reference and an old habit to go back to and rely on made a big difference too. So I think for me, that was the biggest thing, is being reminded, like, oh, hey, I used to be consistent with that, and just I need to get back to my basic, I guess.
That's good. Any final questions for Cynthia, Kat?
I was just going to ask really briefly, do you still find yourself like mindless eating mindlessly?
I do. It was really fun. So this is a really funny example. I was talking last weekend. We just got done making pancakes for the kids, and my husband started asking me a couple questions, and I started to get, I don't know why, but I can't remember what he was asking me either, and it was stressing me out. I literally grabbed a pancake and just started shoving it in my face. And he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh, I think I'm stress eating. I need to put this down." I'm not like shoving pancakes in my face, but it was something I did when I was on one of my other cuts. Like, when I stress eat, I crave sugar because I feel like it gives me just a little up of a feeling afterwards. So instead of eating, I found a way to add the healthy sweet in a snack. So if I eat it earlier in the day, just take it away from my snack in the afternoon. And I was doing like chocolate graham animal crackers or something like that, something that has no fat. It's sugar in it, but it's something easily I can like recount my macros for.
Yeah.
So I started that again this week, and then I noticed the past like 2-3 days I'm not mindless about it. I'm doing it, but I'm aware I'm doing it.
That's the first step.
That is the first step.
I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Let's just do it and get it over with.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, Cynthia, thank you for joining us for this mental minute. And do you have any final words, anything?
Not really. Just that this is temporary. It's not going to last forever. We are going to get past this. And I just keep reminding myself that everything is temporary. It's not going to last forever.
I like that. Good. That's true. Very true.
I don't think my donkey does.
All right, Cynthia, thanks so much. And you have a great week, okay?
Thanks. You too.
Bye, Kat. Bye, guys.